Hello, screenwriters, and welcome to Writing for Screens, the screenwriting step-by-step project episode number 160, chapter 160 of these things. My name is Glenn Gers, and I come to you every Monday, every Monday through Friday at 3 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, if I can make it, to let you look over my shoulder, share my screen as I write a script in order to demystify the process of writing scripts, because I think there's a lot of great screenwriting teaching out there talking about how to shape and create the greatest script ever, but you cannot make it the greatest script ever if you cannot get it written. And nobody seems to be talking about the day-to-day, page-by-page, scene-by-scene, line-by-line process that you go through to write a script. Any script. I happen to be writing an hour-long drama, but it could be a sitcom, it could be a web series, it could be a podcast, it could be a play. It doesn't matter. A narrative script works the same way, and I just thought I would show you my way of walking through it, because going through the outline and creating a rough draft and then rewriting it might help you when you are facing the blank page. Everybody does it differently. If it's not helping, don't do it. It's not like this is the best way. It's not like this is the only way. It is just the way that I've worked out for myself in a 25-year career writing for movies and TV, and I feel like nobody else is really talking about it quite the way I do, so I thought I would share. And that said, let's get to it. Let's get sharing, because I am making my way through one of the most difficult scenes that we've got here. This scene is just a dragon, a monster. It's just a scene with a lot. It's got like 6 or 7 sections and a lot of information that I have to get across, and that is kinda a drag. It's a lot of work to do those. So in that ways, it's very instructional. It's very educational as I plod through this same damn scene 3 for days and days at a time. But that's what it takes. I mean, honestly, if I was not writing this an hour at a time on a live stream, it wouldn't take quite so many days, because I would do 3 or 4 hours a day, and it would work a little faster. Hello, Marital Itoso. Oh, hi, Division 5 from a coffee shop in downtown Culver. Which one? Downtown Culver is a delightful place with many, many fabulous restaurants. Some of which let you sit around and watch live streams. Isn't that cool? Okay. Hi, everybody. Let's get to it. Finland. Kiba Ture. Hello from Finland. That is cool. Thank you. I am looking forward to that too. I'm assuming that nuggets I will drop is not a disgusting image. So we'll just move right along from that. Hello, Natasha. I know what you meant, and I appreciate it, Kiba. I was just making a word play joke. Kasha's cool. Nice. I'm a big Cafe Vida fan. And there's a great bookstore, The Well, across the street from Cafe Vida. If you're in downtown Culver, I am not receiving any payback for this, but there's an actual bookstore and cafe in Culver City with actual books that you can purchase and read. So it's called The Village Well. Hi, Jean. Oh, Marital Tosa has a question. Do you think it is a good idea to have in mind an actor or actress you are writing? Not necessarily thinking the actress will play this character. Kinda, yeah, maybe, if you're not telling anyone. Don't tell anyone you have them in mind. Don't put it in the script. But if it helps you to picture a certain person playing it, great. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that. That's cool. You also don't want to rely on that person's playing it to pull off anything you're putting in the script. However, the thing I would advise you not to do is to say that a character should be played or is like a certain actor. That, I think, is a bad move script-wise. But having them in mind, yeah, I think we all do it. I think we all imagine certain people. I have a friend of mine who always imagines dead actors, which really helps, because then you can't worry about them casting. Like they'll say, like, oh, I think Montgomery Clift would play this really well. So yes, that's whatever works, however you imagine them, is fabulous. Okay, so let's get back to this, because while I was getting ready, I actually started to mess with this. I was like, oh, I see something I wanted to say, but you guys weren't watching, so I just put it in bold so I would remember to come back and do it in front of you. Okay, so what I realized is, if we are establishing the Crime Crackers website here, which we are, we have not yet seen that, then it's not a bad idea to explain what it is, if possible. So the thing I wanted to get across is that there's communication on this way. It's not a site. It's not a one-way site, which the site is giving information to everybody. It's a platform, a place where people can communicate. The problem is, this is now too many explanatory sentences. So that's good. Yeah, nice. It's a website, bulletin boards, and chat rooms where people with nothing to do my job. Nah. See, I'm trying to. It's Crime Crackers. It's a website, bulletin boards, and chat rooms about unsolved cases. People with nothing to do, so they do my job badly. Web sleuths. That's just too many statements of the same. It's actually the same information, different versions of it. So great. So I got to figure out which one of these is going. It's bulletin boards. It's a website. Bulletin boards and chat rooms. People with bulletin boards are for people. Where people with nothing to. Yeah, this is the problem. Is that this is actually, I really, it's a website, bulletin boards and chat rooms. People with nothing to do, so they do my job badly. Web sleuths. Bullets. It's a website, bulletin boards and chat rooms. People with nothing better to do, so they do my job. People with nothing to do, so people with nothing to do, so they do. People with nothing better to do, so they. It is funny how, I mean, really, you get hung up on just the phrase and the rhythm, and that is part of the job. This is the job. It's a website about unsolved cases, bulletin boards, chat rooms, people with. Oh, that's it. Website about unsolved cases. That's where we go. So it's a website about unsolved bulletin boards, chat rooms, people with nothing to do, so they do my job. Bulletin boards, chat rooms, people with nothing to do, so they do my job badly. Web sleuths. Yeah, that sounds bad. People. Can I leave so they do my job badly? George was one of them. So he could be a crime cracker. What Crime Crackers? It's a website for about unsolved cases, bulletin boards, chat rooms, people with nothing to do. People with nothing to do, so they do my job. If somebody says that right, it's great. So they do my job badly. Web sleuths. Yeah, I think so. Yeah, that just sounds bad. All right, it's working for you. Good, excellent. A vote to help me get confidence. All right, so now here's the thing. Now we got a cluster of bits of ideas, and the question is, what order do they go in? Because here, this is one of the things I've been wondering about. Oh, by the way, yeah, I don't think we need this. I don't think we need lousy way to find yourself back on. I mean, that's like just summarizing for the audience. He's not talking to her when he says that. I think he just says, I'm sorry. Like, so yeah, I think I'm sorry. The paperwork, and then he's explaining why they reached out to her, which makes sense. It's like, it's been 30 years. The paperwork in his desk didn't give us any, so you were it. You were it. So you were it. Sad, impressed. That's why I think. Yeah. Okay. Oh, wait, people are talking in the chat. Let's see what's going on. I just got to mention this. On Easter Day, I got the best gift ever. A little bit while I mentioned a small bit of story in a clubhouse room. Hollywood. Oh my gosh, that is so. I think where we're heading is that was good. Bravo, cool. Tell us more, Natasha. I've heard about this clubhouse. I have never clubhoused. Okay. I'd like to have about having a lot of action written on the page. I'm currently writing a comedy series, but I'm struggling to keep the action lines short. I'm afraid I'll have time nailing it unless I make sure it's all there. Does that make sense? Yes, it does, and I will talk about that. But first, I'm going to finish up with they expressed interest in reading my script. Excellent. Hey, this is great. This is great. And those are good notes. Congratulations. This is fabulous. Natasha is the hardest working woman in show business. She is just putting work out there, and it always seems to get a good response, which is a sign that you are doing good stuff. And that is all anyone can ask, is just that people react well. It doesn't mean that they'll buy it. But the fact that they're reacting well, that's the magic of the art. If they do that, you have won, and keep doing what you are doing. Not exactly the same, learn and change, but do what if you are getting that kind of response, Natasha, keep doing what you are doing and have joy in that. Okay. Let's very briefly talk about Kiba's question, which is how much description on the page. I'm afraid this is where we get interesting. I'm afraid on set they'll have a tough time nailing it unless I make sure it's all there. This is where I have to question you. Why? In other words, is it actually complicated, like? Or is it how you think it should be done? If you're saying how you think it should be done, because if they don't do it that way, it won't be right. No. If it's, oh, he has to pick up the knife and put it in the teacup, and the teacup has to fly over to the parrot, and like there's stuff that like no one could imagine unless you told them, yes. But honestly, if that's true, it'll be fun to read. It'll be interesting, and you don't have to overly describe it. You just have to get it across. Just like I was doing here with these bits and pieces. You do not need to over describe. You do not need to describe. So tell me more, Kiba, about exactly what it is that you don't think they will nail on the set, because that is their job. And what's more, it's their art. It's their privilege. It's their part of the game. You can't tell them how to do it. You can only tell them what they are doing. That is my rule. You try and make it read nice and give a flavor and an air, but if it's not coming across, that's probably not because you didn't tell them exactly how to do it. I know so many stories of writers who try to tell, not just in words, but famously, I know some people working on sitcoms who would actually leave the writer's room and go over to the set and try and like demonstrate for the actors how to do it, to get it right. And they were unfailingly not appreciated for that, and it did not matter, and it did not help, and they were just tolerated barely, and then that's that. So yeah, that is my answer. That is fabulous. Wonderful. Do what they say. Keep in touch with them. Uh, yes, you are doing it right. So yeah, Kiba, let me know more about what specifically you're talking about, and I will talk more about it. In the meantime, I'm going to try and get this scene right because there's just too many blocks of things. See, right now, I have this transition here, this adjustment, okay? Here's what happens. She walks in. He asks her, when was the last time you spoke? It's a natural and cop-like question. So she tells him, and the basic answer is, it was 30 years ago and I haven't talked to him since. So he politely says, I'm sorry. So the fact that she hasn't talked to him since 1992 means he's not going to get useful information from her. So he explains why they even contacted her. And she makes a sweet comment about, George grew up. And now, here's the thing. And then he says, but you don't know where he put the evidence. Well, she just said you didn't talk to him for 30 years. So yeah, let's just get rid of that but, because duh. And then let's also just put a question here. Is this where they naturally would go conversationally? In other words, I have other things that they should talk about. See, right now, she's talking about George. She hasn't seen him in 30 years. She is now seeing his life and death. And I think she might ask here the question that I have later about what his life was like. See here, she's what? No friends. Talking, yeah. It's either that or he says, so you don't know. So then you don't know. So then you don't know where he put the evidence. Evidence of what? George grew up. Yeah, so then you don't know. So then you don't know where he put the evidence. Evidence of what? I hate when she just starts asking question after question. Like, it's evidence of what? Then her next line is, George was a dumb shit, which is actually not a question. It's a critique of what he said. But then, what? Yeah. I think we can get away with it. So the important thing here is that we have to understand that she may not have heard about this on the news. It may not have made her news, whatever. So you don't know where he put the evidence. And so she doesn't know anything about George's life or podcast. So I think that works. So then you don't know where he put the evidence. He had paperwork in his desk. George grew up. So then I guess you don't. I guess you don't know where he put the evidence. Where he put the evidence. That's the line. There we go. Those dead actors are just, they're so useful. They're so handy. They do what you tell them, for one thing. Okay. All right, back to Kiba. I'm afraid the type or nuance of the comedy won't come through. No, definitely not. Do not do it. Do not describe how a character behaves or delivers the lines. Do not. If the nuance isn't coming through, that's a larger problem of why not. Because if it's new, if the nuance is there, someone should be able to get it. Not everyone will get it. I've had times where people have completely misread a line, and now and then you have to do a little explanation. But telling everyone how to act is a infuriating thing in scripts for actors and directors. It should be implied. Let me talk to you about this a little bit. For instance, let's see. Let me find a good example of it. Oh yeah. Here, I remember. Okay, I talked about this yesterday. in this line, Madeline's phone rings, caller ID Zena Moreno. Now, the caller ID Zena Moreno is only visible in a close-up. So the point is that I am implying that we are going to a close-up of the phone because it's the only way that that information is. But I'm not saying do a close-up. Likewise, here, now and then I will put in a stage direction, which is how someone should tell, someone should say the line. The reason is if there are several distinct alternatives and one of them is important to the meaning of the line. In other words, the point here is that he is no longer explaining, he is speaking with contempt or with distaste, web sleuths, because he's already explained it. He's already said exactly what it is and what he thinks about it. So he's just like going, yeah, here. So that's why I said that. I could probably take out this winces, and I may actually. But for instance, or here, to himself, dumb shit. That's because he was talking about the chemistry set killer is the end of the last sentence. So it's possible that either we would think he's saying the chemistry set killer is the dumb shit, or it sounds like he's calling Madeline a dumb shit, like you dumb shit. So that's why I say to himself. All right. So the point I'm getting at is that if at all possible, like here, I'm saying sad and impressed because I want to convey something that the line does not convey. However, oh, are you an actor? If you are an actor, then frankly, you would know. You don't want the page to tell you how to act. I know very few actors who want to read a script where it tells them how to act. It tells them what the character is thinking. Cool, and I do that. It tells them what the character is doing and saying. Yes. It might even tell them what the character is thinking if you need to, if it's not clear, but you do not tell them how the character does the thing, what tone they have. You definitely don't do that. Now and then you will get a, like for instance, in this line, I am saying sad. I'm not saying that she should say it sad. I'm saying that she is feeling sad. So it is really, I believe, really important. I have never found an actor who was really grateful to have some script spend time telling them how to behave. That's part of acting, is that they behave the way they interpret it. In fact, I know many actors who cross out the stage directions, and many acting books where they say, please, like, you should know when we get the script, we're going to cross out all the stage directions. That's part of an actor's education, is do not be told what to do. You have to find it. So therefore, Kiba, I cannot say that I ever think you need to tell them the nuance, unless it is the nuances like we have here, where it's the nuance of what the character is thinking or feeling that is not apparent from the actual words they are saying. That is the only time that I think you, like this, I don't actually need to do it. Now and then I just break up a hunk of dialogue with a quick stage direction. But all this is saying is what he's physically doing. I am not telling them how to act. In this script? Sure. You mean this, like the one we're writing right now? Yeah. Here. I have a strong feeling about slug lines, which is that they should only be interior, exterior, location, time. That's it. This is location and sublocation, George's house, garage, and then time. Okay. Nothing else. You don't want to get too descriptive in your slug lines. That is if it's a flashback, you have to do that, but flashback is actually a time. Yeah. Does that help you, Natasha? Okay. Yes, Javier is right. So anyway, Kiba, tell me, if you, the experience I have had is, and it's so tempting because what you're imagining how someone says it, but you would be surprised how much people get just from the words. Let's talk about that as we write, as I write. That there's a lot of attitude in the words. Like Elms, you're the X. He's being very cut and dried. He's not being empathetic, sympathetic, or fun. Good dialogue writing implies a tone, but also every single actor is going to do it differently. They really are. It's one of the best things I could urge you all to do. And let me see. I believe. Do I have it here? No, but I did a video called "Get Your Script on a Screen." It's what it's called. Anyway, get your script on a screen, which is have the experience or write some theater and have the actors do it. The experience of seeing how actors do it, no matter how perfectly you imagine it, they will do it somewhat differently. Even if they get the way you mean it to be said, it will just be different. You have to get to enjoy that. You have to really enjoy writing something and then letting people interpret it. That is part of being a dramatic writer or a screenwriter. Okay. Yeah. The word, you mean it pushes over the line? See if you can cut down the other part. For instance, here, George's house, garage, in general, keep them short. You don't want your slug line to go longer than the line, but you also don't need to describe every little detail. You don't need, like, George's apartment, cool, that's it. George's APT, instead of apartment. Okay. I'm good. I'm going to get this. Maritosa, I see your question, but I just need to get this written a bit more. Okay. So, sorry, yeah. He said sorry before. I don't want him to be like saying, he says sorry a lot and he's not actually sorry. Yeah, I think we'll just cut that. Instead of bringing it to the police, he was making something so he could be a crime. Yes, he was. Yes, he was. Yeah. Yes, he was. Yeah. No, he's not. Yeah. Yeah. There we go. Yeah, because see this little colon here. Let's see. Can you see this? Yeah. This colon. This is important because what I did there was what I wanted to say was, and this is actually part of what I was talking about with Kiba a second ago. I am implying in the dialogue his thinking and thought. Yeah, colon instead of bringing means yeah, because. But I don't want him to say because. So yeah, and now colon means what follows is explaining or detailing what went before. That's what a colon means, or one of the main things a colon can mean. Okay, so okay, let's shrink that back down. Whoa, sorry about that, folks. Let's bring that back. There we go. No, that's it. Okay. I don't think he says yeah. It's a nice little bit, but instead of going to the police, instead of going to the police, he made himself a target on. He made less. Stay away from is, was, be, make your verbs active, not passive. He made himself, was making is a state of being. Made is an action. This is important. He made himself a target on the internet so he could be a crime cracker. What? Crime Crackers. It's a website about unsolved cases. Bulletin boards, chat rooms, people with nothing to do, so they do my job badly. Web sleuths. Yeah, that just sounds bad. Ring. Okay, so turn this place upside down. I was just thinking, Madeline's phone rings and all that. It's sort of too perfect to put it here, because it's like he's actually talking about the crime crackers while she's calling. But you know what? What the heck? I'm trying to keep myself free of extreme curses, because it affects my ability to get ads on these videos. So what the heck? I'm going to move this here, because while she's doing that, I need him to be speaking to a certain length, and that, yeah, because now these lines can go pretty quick. We've turned this place upside down, because what I want to say is, what if maybe. C. She can CSK. Let's see. Maybe the killer took it if it was about him. The C. The serial guy. The C. Can't remember. Hopefully that's clear. Okay. Yes. Hello, Kitschy. Yes. Active verbs. Active verbs, folks. Hola, the cat. And hello, Tavana. Yes, yeah, the verb tip. That is the deal. That is it. Verbs, man, verbs are really, really important in your writing. And verbs, in my famous dramatic action video, I explain a lot about the actor's use of the verb as what's this. What am I doing? So yeah, let's talk about that again. Dramatic action, the verb. Verbs, they're all over it. It's really, really useful to start thinking in terms of what is the verb, what is the action. Maybe he took it, the killer, if it was about it. Maybe he took it, the killer. Yeah. About him. This part, yeah. And it's usually the spouse. Ex-spouse. Spouse is one of them words. Spouse is a funny word. I have used it in other scripts. Oops, there we go. Yeah, that's it. Okay, now we are getting someplace. I am feeling like I am getting someplace, so I'm going to stop and get back to Martelatoso's question. What would you recommend if, when writing or doing the outline, a secondary character is resulting in being much more important than originally thought? This happens. Rethink the story to focus on the main, or maybe just change the story for that character. Yeah, this is actually a fascinating question. Let's talk about this for a second. Yeah, what do you do if you're planning out a character and like you have your story and then some secondary character just is becoming much more important. Let's ask for a second, what do you mean important? Do you mean important as in interesting? Or do you mean important as in they are actually doing more than the main character? Because if that's the case, maybe they're the main character. You never know. Think about that. I have had that happen. In my story Disfigured, I actually started as it was going to be a romantic comedy about, or a relationship movie about a man and a woman. As I was thinking about the woman's life, I had her go to a meeting for a support group, and another character in that support group became fascinating to me. And that relationship became so much more interesting and unique that I actually downgraded the romantic relationship and made it about these two women and their friendship. All of a sudden, my secondary character is one of my main characters, and the main character, who was the guy, became a secondary character. It's not the end of the world. Even after you've written the script, sometimes you will discover that. That's not fun, but it's not bad. Sometimes that's how you discover things. Being open to it means that hopefully you'll catch it before you've finished the whole script. Being open to saying, like, well, what's really going on here? No, definitely not. What's tricky about this scene is that it's just dumping a lot of information that otherwise there isn't much happening. Truthfully, she's walking in, they're telling each other some stuff, and then he walks out, and he's going to be important in other episodes, but he's actually not at the moment. All this is doing is establishing his attitude. That's what's really important here for him. What's important here for his character is he's got a bad attitude. He doesn't like this case. That's all we need to know about him. Everything else is just him explaining the situation that she's walking into. What makes it tricky is how much of that I'm jamming in here. You are more than welcome. The Cat, THE Cat, was a 1960s television show about a cat burglar. THE Cat. I can't, Thomas Herman Edward Cat or something. Anyway, so The Cat, great to see. I am so happy that you're liking it. How many pages total? I have not cut a single page yet. I actually think I'll be cutting some soon in this session even. But right now, we are making it better, but not making it shorter. You are welcome. The 13th floor. Is that the one with the computer simulated 1920s or 30s? That was an interesting movie. It wasn't great, but it was sort of cool. Wow. Down to 70. That's too short. That's great. Well, it's too short if it's a feature. It's great if you've got if you cut it from 260 to 70. Wow. I bow to you. That is fabulous. It's very possible that you just don't know what your story is yet. And that is okay. That is why we ask these questions, and you should be asking them all the time when you write. Is it good that I like to plan the mechanical plot moments of the story through the outline first and then figure out who the characters are? No. No, it is good. No, it is not bad. It's fine. It does. Everyone does it differently. This is a great question, actually. This is really interesting. Here's the thing. Suppose, like, if the way your mind and soul work is that you start and you get the trickiness of it, the craftiness of it, and you just work it out in a purely mechanical way, and then when you're writing it, you start to think, well, who are these people, and you find their feelings That's great. That happens. That's actually what happened to me. Sometimes that happens to me because I was assigned something. In other words, I was given a plot. In the case of Fracture and Mad Money, I was working with established plots. I changed them somewhat, but the truth is, I didn't invent those stories. I invented those characters. I invented how they play out. I invented all the things they say. So very often, as a professional writer, you will be assigned something where it's like, yeah, this is the mechanics, make it work. Or somebody will say, oh, this is the character, we can't get the mechanics, help us. So yes, it doesn't matter which comes when. As I've said, that you, hold on, you go over it and over it and over it. And that is the key, is that if the way you go over it and over it is that you start with the mechanics and get to the character, cool. If it's start with the character and get to the, or if you go back and forth, as I often do, that's all great. It doesn't matter. Nobody cares what order you got it in when they see the finished product. That's like saying, you know, when somebody sees a painting, do they care if you sketched in pencil first? No, doesn't matter. You know, what matters is that by the time you are done with your process, it's all there. And it always takes stages. Nobody gets it all at once. That's another one. No one gets it all at once. So all that matters is that you keep going through it until you get it all, because that's how we do. All right. Congratulations, the cat. Okay, let me, so I'm going to go over this. Okay. Okay, the reason that I put this in here, adding lines, is CSK has been cold for 30 years. This is just information. This could be done very calmly. And I want to point out that Elms is pissed. This whole thing is a mistake. All right, so let me get to... let's see. Yes, screenwriters do make the magic happen. No, it was good. It was an excellent question. It was an exciting and interesting question that got me to mention something that cannot be said enough. Let's get rid of this question and put this. This information can go right up here with there. CSK has been cold for 30 years, guys. Guys, 70 or 80 years old. You know what? We don't use numerals when we get that big. 70 or 80. Guy's 70 or 80 years old now, if he's alive at all. CSK has been cold for 30 years. Guy's 70 or guy's like 80 now. 30 years, 70. Guy's like 70 now. Guy's like 70 years old. Guy's like 70 years old if he's alive at all. If he's alive. Guy's like 7 years old if he's alive. Could he have been 20? Yeah, he could have been 20. That's true. I'm just going to say guy's old if he's alive. I think your husband was stirring the pot and he stirred up and he's... where do we get... Okay. All right, let's get rid of all this. Look at that, a cut. A big cut, but not enough. Okay. Let's see. How can everyone know? CSK has been guys like 70. Guys like 70 now. If he's alive. But I hope he was. But I hope it is CSK. But I hope it is CSK. But I hope it is CSK, because then the FBI will take this mess off my hands. There we go. Now. I hope it is. But I'm praying. But I hope. But I'm praying it. Okay, not bad. Not bad. All right. And if it's not, then it's usually the spouse. See, that's funny. Ex-spouse. He doesn't have to say kidding. That's obvious. Let's just get this. Let's get this shorter. All right, this is better. This is getting better. Okay, this is way too much. Gonna have to cut this down. Okay, so where do I want to put the part? See, now I've got these. I've got this section about who George is and how he's investigating, which is right now is way too long. But at least I put it all in one place so that I can start to craft it later. But right now I'm just trying to get the big chunks of the story here. Now this section, I really like the idea here, but this is just crappy stuff. You mad at me? What I want to get to is that Madeline's kind of freaked out. But you know what? A lot of this should be somewhere. This is later. This is what we're going to do. This is a good line. This is a good joke. If not, but it's usually the spouse. I'm going to put that at the end of this. He's going to say, so she says, and if it's not, talking to everyone. George was busy. George was a well-liked. George was a bartender at the round table. A round table. Well, for the moment. George tended bar. See, aha. Watch out. Active verbs. George was a bartender. George tended bar at the something. Round table is just, it's not, it has to sound like a funny bar name. He was between us, but everybody liked George. Trying to find it. Everybody liked him. Popular guy. Between girlfriends. Popular guy. George tended bar at the. I'm checking. Yeah, let's see. Checking his bank records, phone records, trying to find out if somebody's. I'm checking if somebody was mad at him or if he slept with somebody's wife. Because it's his head. And they just. And they took advantage. Somebody. Maybe he owed somebody money, or he slept with somebody's wife, and they just nothing to do with the podcast. They just wanted to make it look like a Jerry. But it's usually the spouse. See, and then she comes back sort of tough, ex-spouse. Yeah, that's cool. Hi, Larry. Cheyenne. So happy. Oh, I am too. I'm watching. Well, that is great. I am. If this is this is so freaking weird that this works, but I am so glad it does. People are saying that they find this motivating and helpful and encouraging, which is, of course, the point. But when I started, I was like, am I insane to be doing this? Is this, I just, honestly, this is the truth. The reason I did this live stream was I knew that live streaming was a good way to reach people and to I don't know, it was just like, that's what you're supposed to do on YouTube. However, YouTube likes it. They push live streamers. However, what are you going to do if you're a screenwriting live streamer and nobody's there? Because most of the time with live streams, nobody is watching. I cannot believe I've got 16 people on right now. So in order to have something to do while I was live streaming, I thought, oh, I'll write, I can do that. And then I began to think that is actually a really good way to teach writing, because there are so many things that you can't explain unless you show page by page, line by line. And that's how we got here. So the fact that it actually is working is amazing. It reminds me. I remember when I first learned about YouTube and I found out about people doing, watching other people play video games. I was like, why? And then I began to watch them. I'm like, oh, that's so cool. I get it. I understand. And that's what we're doing here. Okay. Quirky. Yes. Yes. Not only do I know about it, I even did a video about it in which I mentioned several famous writers' wacky rituals, including, well, Hemingway was just sharpening pencils and being a neurotic alcoholic. However, Nabokov wrote on index cards. He wrote whole novels on index cards. You should look it up. John Cheever tied himself to his chair with his bathrobe belt. There's some good rituals. So yes, quirky writing rituals are super great. Yeah, munching on snacks, if you can handle it health wise, I'm all for it. Okay. I'm not going to say it. Later. I'm going to fix studio. I think George is going to have like a bulletin board with the string and stuff. Okay. But I hope it's him. But I hope it is him. But I hope it is him. Because then the FBI will take this mess off my hands. Between girlfriends. Maybe he owed somebody money, slept with somebody's wife. Somebody is a better, somebody goes, owed somebody money or slept with somebody's wife. Bumbaba. That's why somebody, not someone. Nothing to do with the Pagas. The killer just perp just wanted to make it look like a Jerry. Oh, that's it. Okay. Yeah. Watch this. This is great. I just got it. See, she's going to use his line, don't she? All right, there we go. Because she's pissed at him too. There we go. Now I'm going to get into this speech. Oh, look at that. That is so freaking cool. This is why we write. Because this line, which was, I thought it was cool. It was sort of provocative that Elms was pissed at the, and I might describe this better, that he was angry at the victim. And Madeline is kind of appalled. It's her ex. And then he explains why, and she kind of goes with it. And then by the point at which this is this will be interesting. Let's go back to where is it? Kiba's point. Kiba was talking about how do you, but it's usually the spouse is actually a joke. In other words, Elms is explaining what he's going to do. Basically, here's what's going on underneath. The subtext of this moment is, she says, if it's not the serial killer, what happened? And so Elms is explaining to the victim's wife what he is going to do as a professional police officer investigating the case. That's very much what often happens in these scenes. Somebody is saying to the cops, what are you going to do? And where are you going to look? And they tell him. So he's just telling him, but then he ends with, but it's usually the spouse, which is a kind of witty way of saying, obviously it's not you. And that lets her say ex-spouse, which is kind of like, don't play with me. Don't, I couldn't have done it. And then thinking about being his ex-spouse. She thinks about George and she says dumb shit. And then she'll say all this stuff. And I haven't got it yet, and I will get to it tomorrow. But this is good. And I cut a page. And I'm not even done cutting because this is obviously not going to stay this long. What do you know, folks? What do you know? All right. Yes, thank you. This is how we go. This is how we do. If you can take something that someone said, which is in their mind, it was an important part of the scene, and they can pick it up again because they want to, not because it is clever writing, but they're not writing. They're using what just happened, which people do. I am really proud of that. This is turning out to be a good scene. Look at that. Okay, folks, let's wrap it up for today. This has been Fabuloso Plus. I am really happy we are getting somewhere. This scene is getting good. Thank you so much for sharing and enjoying, and we are all going to go write something.